What is going on today, guys? It's your host, David J. Sherwin, for another episode of this podcast, David J. Sherwin's Recovery Podcast. Hope you guys are all doing well today, and I'm coming at you with some good inspiration today. Feeling great, sunny out, beautiful in Southern California as always, almost. And today I wanted to talk about what is your story. And the reason why this topic specifically to me is so important is because I have been doing some courses on influencing from Coursera, a fantastic website for those of you looking to just continue your education in any specific field. Really, it's great, and I recommend that. I recommend Udemy. I really recommend checking those two out. Course EDX, I think it's called, is great also. Um, Anyways, so I was doing a course on influencing, and I did a specific course in viral marketing because I thought that that was a great place to go to learn about personal branding. And as you all know, I've been developing a group called Sure Growth, and what that group basically does is gives information, daily tips, and is developing a group of people who are looking to develop their own personal brand. And anyways, one of the great points that I got out of taking this course that I think that you guys can all take to heart with this was the idea of telling your story. And it talked about specifically a point in where if you are giving a presentation and the presentation is mostly surrounded by talking about numbers and giving examples. For instance, they were talking about how California is such a big state. It's got 30 million people in there, and therefore it needs taxes. And that point specifically wasn't driven home as well as the idea of talking about California being as big as North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, a bunch of states, and giving a story, sort of, so to speak, to giving a better idea of how big California is as opposed to just throwing out a number. And they even talked about how they did a little experiment to see between people who gave presentations with statistics and numbers and people who gave presentations with stories, whose presentations were better remembered and what the point of the presentations were. And they said it was like 9 times out of 10 that most of the presentations giving with statistics were not as powerful as those who gave presentations based on their story. And I think that is a great way to think about things, and how I was thinking about things with who I'm influenced by in general. And a lot of it has to do with their backstory and how they got to where they are and how they're doing so well in life. And I think that, for instance, if I look at somebody like Grant Cardone, I know some people have different opinions on him, or Ty Lopez, but if you look at them, they talk about a story. Or Ty Lopez specifically, he'll talk about his backstory, where he talks about it wasn't so long ago that I was living on a couch and blah, 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 blah. He's giving you a story. He's not giving you a statistic. He's not saying, hey, college is a waste because a return on investment has just been diminishing throughout these past couple of years or whatever. You're going to be in a bunch of debt. Everybody knows that, but to give a sound story is a much more powerful tool to have in your toolbox for those of you interested in going out into personal branding and developing that idea. So that was the main topic that I wanted to just jump in on today. And part of the reason why I believe that my backstory of developing my personal brand right now, and still laying in the fact that I'm coming out of recovery and building off of that, and that people will know, hey, this is my story. I came from a past where I was struggling with alcohol abuse, and I overcame it and helped get myself into the light. And now my mission is mainly to help other people and improve their lives and to bring value to their lives and helping them to understand new resources, for instance. And I'm going to drop a sponsor right here. For instance, for those of you wishing to tell your own story, I highly suggest doing a podcast. And I touched on this with a previous guest of mine, Troy. He is with Ravers for Recovery. And he talked about how having a podcast in a way is sort of just like having a journal. And I love that point because looking back on the previous videos that I made, I felt awkward when I was first making the videos, and I'm sure there's still a level to that, but it's developed over time because I've just been working on it and getting to a point where looking into a camera and talking on a microphone is just a second nature ability at this point for me, where it basically feels like I'm talking to you guys who are watching this. And I like that idea of having a digital journey that you can look back on and just kind of look at and reflect on, even if it doesn't grow to anywhere. And it's just something that you can look back on and say 20 years and say, oh, wow, this is where I was at when I first started podcasting. I was just starting learning about video equipment, audio equipment. And now I'm where I'm at today, to where it's just second nature. So I thought that was a really powerful point to bring into your guys' minds and consider when you guys are trying to develop your social media platforms or your Instagram pages or Facebooks. Try to think about what your personal story is and add that to your flavor of branding or your social media following or wherever you're at. Try to delve in onto what your story is, because people eat that up. And I, for instance, like I said, all of the people that I look up to all have a great story behind it. So I think that's a great thing to think about. And even, for instance, if you think about movies, I'm a great big Star Wars fan. As you can see, I'm wearing my Star Wars shirt today, and you think about how big of an industry movies are, and it's all based on storytelling, whether it's based on a real story or not. It's all based on stories, and it's a massive industry. It's so big that without the entertainment industry, I don't know if it would still be like this, but a couple years ago, 10, maybe 20 years ago, if we didn't have the movie industry or the entertainment industry like we did, our economy wouldn't be as powerful as it is or as it was back then. And I'm sure it's still enjoying the growth from it. So there you have it. I hope you guys are all enjoying this. I know this episode's probably not as long as they normally are, but like I said, I just wanted to get in this good idea, this good fact that you guys who are listening from all over, I really appreciate it. Please continue listening. I'm enjoying this. I'm trying to get a good schedule going, and I've even got a few guests lined up to be on the show. And check that out. Check out my Instagram. I'm at David J. Sherwin. I got Twitter going. I got YouTube still going. This will be up on YouTube, on all of the podcast platforms, and on my Facebook at David J. Sherwin. Hope you guys are all having a fantastic Thursday. Hope you guys are getting some meditation in, and hope to see you guys all soon. And yeah, have a great day.